Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about compressors again. You ever been watching a movie and you just get bombarded with like a huge action sequence or musical passage and it's just overbearingly loud? And then when they go to speak, you can't really hear what's going on, so you have to adjust your volume. This is kind of a way to combat that. So here's a feature that I have the same problem with every time we've watched it. And track 1 here is how it sits on the original master disc. Track 2 is where I have the plugins enabled. And track 3 here is the exported version where I brought it back in. And this is mainly to show you the difference in the waveform between the original and the plugins. So let's listen to the original version real quick here. We've got some louder music and we've got some dialogue, and all these tracks are at 0 as far as the volume level goes. So they're all at unity gain. The only differences are the plugins. So let's listen to this original passage real quick.
Organize field trips.
Right, but I figure I'm gonna be here for a while, so.
Well, that remains to be seen.
And then we'll take a listen to audio 2 real quick and I'll tell you about the plugins.
What do you think about that?
Well, substitutes, as a rule, do not organize field trips.
So you can hear it's quite a bit more punchy, a little bit more prominent. And here's how I have the plugins on audio 2. I did change my order of operations. So I have effects, then dynamics, then EQ. And here's why I did that. On the effects here, I have a 1.5 ratio with about a 5 dB makeup gain. And we're getting sometimes around 5 dB gain reduction on the loudest parts and then a couple on the dialogue. So let's listen to that real quick.
Michelle.
It's a science project. Never mind. Listen.
So this one's pretty much shaving off some of the peaks and then bringing it up about 5 dB. So I wanted that as like a little catch-all for some of the just more abrupt stuff. Then on the actual dynamics, after it hits this vocal channel, it will go into the main dynamics here. And I have that at about 5.5 dB a makeup gain. This is about a 3:1 ratio. And then we can look at the gain reduction here, yeah, even on this same section right here.
Never mind. Listen, Roz, I was thinking about organizing a field trip for the kids.
So about -3 for the dialogue sections. And if we go to one of the louder spots, maybe -5, -6. So together, I'm kind of combating the amount of reduction we're getting on both these. And so it's going to make the dialogue passages a lot louder and doesn't really handle the music as much. I still wanted the dynamic range of the music where I didn't want to limit it. So if we look at the limiter section of the dynamics, I do have it on at a -10.2. But if we look at like the louder passages here, you can see the gain reduction meter isn't even active. And that's what these 3 strips are here. The first one's the expander gate, second one's your compressor, and the third is the limiter. So if I really bring this down, you'll see we'll start getting some limiter reduction. And I just felt that I didn't need that. So it's not actually limiting some of the loudest passages as much, although we're still getting compression, but it's bringing up the dialogue. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you here. If we look at the waveforms, track 1 here is the original, and then track 3 is the exported version. And look at the volume difference between the two. Just between even this section here, it's quite a bit louder. So if we play the original right here,
Oh, thanks, dude.
and then we solo the export.
Oh, thanks, dude. I'll see you back in class.
Okay.
Like even the Foley's a lot louder. So if we go through and look at some of the other quieter sections here, here's one, for instance, where she's walking. So here's the original. Quite a bit more dynamic. And here's another section where it's pretty quiet.
Gordon?
The Pinta?
Pinta, that's right. That's good. Actually, it's Santa Maria. Okay.
So that's how you can stack compressors to them in conjunction, where the first one's catching some of the higher peaks, bringing up that lower dialogue volume to a level that the second compressor can even control it a little bit smoother, and you don't have it limiting where it's not pushing out all the loud stuff super loud, but it's actually just controlling that overall volume. So I've done this on another feature before, and it's made it quite a bit nicer to watch without the overly loud sections just blasting your speakers. And then the dialogue sections, you can't really hear what's going on. So I'll probably end up adding this to my server so I can just watch this version. All right, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. As always, leave a comment if you got another video topic you want me to cover, and subscribe if you haven't, because that certainly helps me out and I do appreciate it. All right, I'll talk to you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.